And we'll just get started. So for those that are just joining, I am Kendra Nielsen-Miles. I'm the Executive Director and founder of EDS Wellness. This is our monthly Just 5 Minutes class. When I first started these about a year ago, we were doing them every week, actually twice a week, almost 3 times a week. And then we did it to monthly, and then it was weekly, and then it was every couple weeks, and now it's monthly, just to give everybody a chance to join in. However, if people really like these, I tend to give tips. We tend to move for 5 minutes, and I give tips. It's not a directive. This is not necessarily a Q&A. This is more just for us to come together and be motivated to move. If people want to do them more, I'm always willing to do them. I just have to be ready to do them half the time. It's just a matter of me being showered. But otherwise, I'm always willing to do them. If people really like to do them and they're willing to be there for 5 minutes, I'm happy to do them more often. So based upon the feedback that I had done before is why we kind of changed it. Plus, I was changing this e-learning platform for EDS Wellness. But for those that are interested, all the classes recorded from previous, I think there's almost 20 classes now, are all on EDS Wellness's new e-learning platform. They're also still on YouTube. They have not been shortened. They will be shortened just like the yoga classes, but for right now, those are the 2 groups of classes, the yoga classes and also the Just 5 Minutes that have not been shortened. So you can still find them on YouTube. Otherwise, we're just going to do it once a month. If you want to do it regularly, I'm happy to do them more. Please give me feedback. Half the time I change things because I need feedback from people and what people are interested in. Also, what I might have planned for a given class might not be what people are interested in, what they can do. And again, remember, I can't see you. You can see me. This is not a directive. This is what everybody should be doing that has hypermobility. This is just a motivation for us to come together and hopefully share some information and move for 5 minutes. And then I try to focus on something a little bit different every week. So wellness, I am a certified health education specialist. I'm also a 200-hour registered yoga instructor. I am currently in the Restorative Exercise Specialist Certification Program under Ehlers-Danlos Nutritious Movement. This has been a long process, and I'm determined to get it done this year, but it's incredibly fascinating and helpful and informative, and I already include a lot of these tips in the classes that I teach, but the reason why I think restorative exercise and nutritious movement, if you will, following what Katie talks about, is because she's from a biomechanical point of view. And when we think about hypermobility, our biomechanics can be completely off. But there are ways that we can help ourselves stack our joints so that our biomechanics are better, that then help us move better, move more with less pain, and that also helps our proprioception, helps our nervous system. There's many, many things that we can learn through corrective exercise. The other thing is that it's not so much corrective exercise, not exercise, it's more about movement. And exercise is a small little blip in the category of movement. In old days, long time ago, humans were meant to move on 2 feet, and we don't move quite a bit as we used to, right? We don't move anywhere near as much as we should. And exercise is a small component, really, of a bigger category of movement. People used to move all day long years ago when we were hunter and gatherer. So now we have these bodies, and we're more sedentary. And then when you have hypermobility on top of that, it can create a lot of problems. Of course, it doesn't mean that we're going to go be hunter and gatherers, but I think from that perspective of studying biomechanics, human movement, also coming from wellness perspective and public health, like I have in my education and background, and just seeing what I've seen, it's quite interesting to look at our community and what works and what doesn't work, what has been studied, what hasn't been studied, and look at it kind of from an outside in and how we can help ourselves. So one of the things I love about the corrective exercise and movement is that it's not just about exercise. It's about really learning how to move better and move more. And there are things that we can do all day long to help ourselves that don't really feel like exercise. So sometimes when I talk to people, they think, oh, you should just work out as much as I do. And that's not what I'm saying. A lot of times last week, I only worked out 3 times last week. But I did try to do my corrective exercises. I did try to walk more. There's just a lot of things that we can do to help ourselves that isn't exercise. But at the end of the day, what matters is that we can only do as much as we can, and we just focus on what we can do versus what we can't, and little by little. I also posted a video on exercises to do in bed. We can do arm circles in bed. There are things that we can do even when we're in bed, as long as it's safe for you. The other caveat before we get started is to just say, as I said, this disclaimer that this is not for everybody. Please also always make sure that you ask your provider or doctor or physical therapist before trying anything new, trying any new movement, before incorporating anything different into your routine. This is just information. It's not to be taken as a black and white rule. Just because I can do it and doesn't mean you can. Again, I can't see you, you can see me. So please always remember your participation. What you do is at your own risk, and you also should always make sure that you ask a provider before you do anything new. So with that being said, we're going to focus on restorative exercise. A couple of tidbits I posted on social media. We're going to talk about stretching. We're going to talk about how you can stretch. We're going to talk the importance about stretching in a way that's not necessarily stretching, but it's just stretching to bring oxygen and nutrients and blood to the muscles to help them, grow and to not necessarily grow, but to get the nutrients that they need to function and work well. I think sometimes stretching is such a word that we become very scared of in hypermobility, but there's stretching that's too much, that's bad for hypermobility, and there's also stretching that's normal when a muscle contracts and works, and when it contracts, it's like this, and when it not contracts, it goes like this, and that's a stretch. That's called stretching too. So there's stretching that's not good, and there's stretching that is good. That's important to bring oxygen and nutrients to the muscles to help them work optimally and function for everyday function and moving well and moving more, not just during exercise. So first thing is that everybody can get seated. If you are seated on a bed, you can get, you don't have to sit, you can sit on a bed, you can sit on the edge of the bed, you can sit cross-legged if you're comfortable on the floor. You can also be lying down, whatever is most comfortable for you. I would like you to just make sure that you are seated in a neutral position. I don't want any hyperextension of the back or the neck. Just slowly just start drifting your eyes closed. Imagine that you are at a beach, maybe hearing the waves rolling, crashing to the shore. Start bringing your mind and your focus into the present and being here now for 5 minutes. You can drift your eyes closed if you want. Just make sure that your posture is in neutral alignment, that you don't have anything pulling or pushing that is uncomfortable. If it is, please move it. Make sure that your head is over your shoulders, meaning that your ears and your shoulders are in line. So what you want is a natural kind of tuck of you want your back to be neutral. Your shoulders to be back and down, but not like this. It's supposed to be back and down like this. Your head is a little bit over your shoulders, so your ears and your shoulder are in line. But you're not like this, you're not hyperextended this way, and you're not hyperextended this way. And just imagine that ocean waves slowly crashing to the shore. Make sure that your ribs are also not thrusted forward, so you want to be a little bit tucked, but when you do tuck them, you don't want to totally move your back. So if your shoulders are back and down, your head is over your shoulders, you want your ribs to be just tucked like this. So it doesn't really move the positioning of your back. If you're straight, I probably have to work on mine a little bit more. Just slowly drift your eyes closed, or you can keep them open. Just imagining that waves crashing, light waves. You can think of crickets chirping in a forest at night. And what I would like you to do is take some deep inhales and exhales at your own pace. And I invite you to take your hands and you can place them around your ribs. And when you inhale, I want you to really feel the expansion of your ribs outward, not just forward, but to the side and to the back, as if a balloon is inhaling and then exhaling. One more time, inhale. And then exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale. And then exhale. And I want you to slowly, at your own pace, just take a couple more inhales and exhales, still keeping your mind and focus on the present, focusing on maybe the ocean, the waves crashing as you inhale and exhale.